Hello, dear souls. I'm just checking back in with you all again. I'd really like to take a moment to answer a few more of your thoughtful questions and maybe also take the opportunity to address the bigger picture a bit more thoroughly, just so we can all be on the same page and have a clearer understanding together. Because, there are many things circulating online right now, and I want to give you some insight into that through Samurai. I have a great question here from Han Solo. What happens to those who don't go along? So there is, and this is practically worldwide, it's already being propagated like this by various media, namely that there are two different timelines. There's this one timeline that stays 3D, and there's a timeline that will go into 5D. And those who do not go along, those are people, creator souls, who have not yet completed learning just yet. They will remain in this 3D timeline, but they will, and I'll explain a bit about what's going to happen there in a moment. There won't be any like massive chaos. I'm starting from the 3D timeline now. What we're going to see now, and this is what I already hinted at and told you about last year, is that there will be this rupture in the economy. It's becoming more and more clear and visible now through this Iran conflict and through this cutting off of the supply of oil, kerosene, helium, all these noble gases and so on. And this separation from all these absolutely essential raw materials will ultimately cause the global economy to collapse. Everything is still very quiet right now. Even the stock markets are rising again, starting to go up. They had a brief shock, but they're rising again now. And because there is just so much money circulating in the market these days, people really do not know where to put it. Quick money can be made quite easily on the stock market, but eventually it will, as always, come to an end, come back to haunt them, because the shock will be so significant and so great that some major stock exchanges will even be closed and they won't be able to exit their positions. That means they will completely lose all the money they've put in there. But this 3C timeline will, in time, resolve itself in a positive and beneficial way. There's going to be a transition phase where people will then practically reject everything that these politicians and all those elites have put together there. This will lead to forms of society that we can't even imagine today, but they will emerge. Money will lose its value, and people will start to live almost in the direction of 5D to live. So they will begin to form their own communities and they will start practicing bartering. They will no longer go to work just for the sake of earning money, and they will not allow themselves to be enslaved by these entities anymore. As a result, they will gradually and practically form these new communities. And that will... Some people are seeing this now too. So there's one, I think she's from England, a medium, and she says it'll be the most wonderful time for these people, because people will then live in harmony, or more in harmony with each other again. Yes, there will be this chaos at the beginning, but this chaos won't last very long. Probably about 3 to 6 months. But then people will already start to interact with each other again, and so on. The farmers will then also start to distribute the food to the people, and so on. So there won't be any drama, there won't be any absolute drama. And why not? Well, the reason is because the group of people gathered around me, in a practical sense, really manifested these impressive towers, and they are actually there to prevent the chaos that should have come from happening at all. That's the first thing. But then, as I said, on this timeline, there are creator souls who aren't quite finished with their learning yet and want to finish learning their lesson here in this place. But after that, they will then move on and will practically continue to live out their lessons, applying what they have learned in other fields of play, and keep learning. Now, moving on to the second timeline, practically the 5D timeline, and there are different speeds there as well. And that means this year there will be a somewhat larger solar flash, but it won't affect everyone. It only affects those who are ready for it, those who are open to it. And that's why, well, overall, there really won't actually be an end of the world, never. There will be an orderly ascension. And there will also be people, I mean, these people who will stay here even longer. And the 5D timeline, they will also experience the other thing. But as I said, there won't be any terrible chaos, but it will be a gentle transition for everyone. And these people who are on what we might call the slower time level for ascension, they will also begin to wake up now through the chaos, through the short-lived chaos, through the collapse of the economy and so on. They too will gradually ascend, little by little, step by step. This entire ascension process, this journey, will continue and last until about the year 2050 to 2060. And the others can then use this time in a practical and meaningful way and maybe still learn their lessons here, and then when they wake up, ascend. I can also tell you right now what will basically happen to this 3D matrix. It will dissolve, because by then, in the end, all creator souls will have either passed through the shedding of their shell, or who in the end will also partially, practically leave this world either through illness or however else, as I said. And in the end, the 5D Earth, the new Earth that we see here in this place, will practically speaking be anchored here as the next matrix or reality. In the end, we find ourselves waiting, grounded in this moment, anticipating what is to come as the next layer of existence slowly reveals itself to us. And as I said, it certainly won't be the end of the world. It's simply an orderly transition. Even for those individuals who might be a bit slower in their progress, it will still be a very smooth and orderly transition. And also for those people who, for various personal reasons, practically choose to stay here on the three-dimensional matrix, and maybe they will not go along with the transition at this time. They have made that choice consciously, and you have to respect and honor the fact that they want to continue learning and growing in the end through the journey of the soul. Whether the ego, of course, sees it that way, we'll probably see that from the reactions. But it's the soul's decision, and the ego cannot change that. And as I said, it won't be, it will actually be rather positive for humanity overall, whether for the 5D timeline or for the 3D timeline. And as I said, yes, it will probably now, this year, the chaos will start like in over the summer, but it won't lead to this complete collapse, but there will practically be new forms until then.